Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Justin.
People may have noticed we don't know what we're talking about.
They've noticed. I think if they've been following us from the beginning, they know for sure we don't know what we're talking about. But they stay for the friendship and the laughs. That's what we've been told, anyway.
Welcome to the AudPod, where we're talking Kitchenerrangers hockey with the oddballs themselves, Andrew and Justin. Take it away, fellas.
So we got some things wrong. We got, I forgot to say, I didn't forget, he was in my notes, we got distracted. Jacob Jew was traded to London in the trade for Sam O'Reilly.
It's funny because I was listening to the episode and I was like, I remember you not saying his name in the initial part, but I remember thinking that we were going to add on that, of course,
I think
Jacob Jew was the player going to London.
That was for sure the plan. We didn't get there.
And then we just went off track, which, that's normal for us.
Yep.
That's so normal for us. And that wasn't the only thing, was it?
No, the other thing is we got our website and email address wrong. So I think actually for the last two episodes, we've been saying oddpod.com because it sounds funny, but it's actually theoddpod.com.
Theoddpod.com.
Because there was a point.
You know what the best part is?
There was a point when we were looking at domains where there was oddpod.ca and there was theoddpod.com, and we went with theoddpod.com.
The best part is we went with it. You know, we had to know it. This isn't even something like lazy research.
No.
This is just like two tired, late 30-year-old guys who are...
We're barely making it through.
I was going to say, working a part-time job that makes no money called the AudPod, on top of being dads and full-time employees.
Yes. So you want to email us? It's hello@theoddpod.com.
theoddpod.
And then also you could go to the website, which is theoddpod.com. Also, all of this is in the show notes. So I really hope nobody's emailing. They're hearing it. It's like the old days when you had to listen to the radio and they're call in. And you're like, what's the number again?
I know, right? And they've been saying it wrong. And they're like, how come nobody's
calling? We only are looking for three numbers and only two people have called in.
We are getting emails. It's just we're getting it on the old Gmail address.
Yeah, we're still getting it on the Gmail address, which is fine. Yeah. It still works.
Which is fine. We're monitoring it.
Okay.
We're monitoring
okay, and then the last thing, we tried to create a conspiracy theory that the OHL was expanding. Interleague games
are a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. A lot of people came at us and
baseball?
said this happens every year. And then we said...
Not true.
Yeah, that wasn't true.
That's not true. Yeah. So we're fact-checking the fact-checkers. Because that is not true. It hasn't happened since the year 2022-2023 season.
And we're newer than that.
Exactly.
We've also not tried to hide that fact.
That's true.
So
we also haven't tried to hide that we're, imbeciles who know nothing when it comes to most of this stuff.
I will happily create a conspiracy theory, though. That is my level of enjoyment in life, is creating conspiracy theories. So I would have been okay letting that one live as a conspiracy theory.
There were people in our mentions who were like, this should be the case for these teams. These two border teams should go that way. It makes sense to me. I know it would be a tough pill to swallow for, a couple Quebec teams to come home to the OHL. But I mean, travel in the winter, what's more important? Pride or surviving winter travel?
Yeah.
I think we all know.
And then that also...
It's pride. It's pride.
It's pride. Speaking of pride, did you see that the heated rivalry jerseys for the Ottawa Senators? They made them the Hoglander. Is that his name?
The Hoglander. Yeah, Nils Hoglander and Rastronaut.
Yeah,
Stroganoff. Beef
Stroganoff and Hoglander.
Yeah.
Yes. They made Ottawa Senators jerseys for Pride Night, which I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome.
There's got to be some level of trademark infringement that we're nearing. You don't think HBO is evil enough to sue someone over something?
Isn't it CBC
being raised for?
Didn't CBC have a hand in making this?
Did they have a hand in it? Yeah, but it's HBO. I have no idea if CBC had anything.
I think
it's
CBC
HBO
did
for sure.
Yeah. Gary watched
It's
it.
HBO for sure.
Also, Gary watching.
There is way too much steamy stuff in that for it not to be HBO. Gary watched it. After his White House visit. So there's, he's a very complicated person. Let's put it that way.
Gary's got layers. So there we go.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Andrew, we are not a heated rivalry podcast. Although,
no,
I don't know if there is one.
There's a few. Had we been one, we'd have so many more followers at this point.
Yeah. That's the truth. But we are a Kitchener Rangers podcast, and we got a couple games to recap from this weekend. So we are recording on Tuesday, January 20th. That means tomorrow is the Windsor game against the Kitchener Rangers. So
that's true. So we can't recap
it yet because it hasn't happened yet. So we'll do that next week. Next week's going to be a cluster cuss of things. We'll see how that goes. We had two games that we are going to recap today. So we were Friday night at home at the Odd against the Saginaw Spirit. We won 7-4. Didn't feel like we were going to win that game.
It was a really strange game, but an exciting game for sure. Shout out to my mom, who is a huge AudPod listener and kept saying during the game, I know these players better than I know NHL players. And I'm like, I know, because you're a loyal AudPod listener. So shout out to my mom, who was here celebrating her birthday. And
happy birthday, Mama American.
Yes, happy birthday, Mama American. And as she met former friend of the pod and current assistant to the regional producer, Sean Farfaro, after the game. And as he put it, the Rangers scored a goal for every decade. So Mama American entering a new decade.
There you go.
Exciting time in Mama American. I should say Grandma American.
Oh, yeah.
Not Mama American. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
Yeah.
However, what did roll off the stick was Cameron Reed's first, or I should say his 10th, but the first of the game. Cameron Reed's snipe from Jack Pridham, shorthanded.
Yeah.
They went down on a 2-on-1, and Cameron Reed made no mistake 2 minutes and 48 seconds into the game after new acquisition Jared Woolley took a slashing penalty 2 minutes into the game. It didn't matter because these guys shorthanded, especially, Jack Pridham, the shorthanded force for the Rangers. Yeah, I was looking at goals. He has six. So he has 4 shorthanded goals and 2 shorthanded assists as of today on Tuesday, January 20th.
So probably be 8 by Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Then, like you said, it was an interesting game because then in the next 10 minutes, Saginaw was scored twice, and both of these goals were completely strange bounces that could have not really been stopped. Nikita Klepov, who is just a phenomenal hockey player, scored on a weird
it's like off a Ranger skate
deflection off a Ranger skate. Yeah, it didn't look like a shot. And then Uri Rausa, I think, scored his first.
That's a guy from Heated Rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. The bounced off, it looked like the glass or a stanchion behind the net and popped right to him at the corner of the net. And there's no way Kirsch could have anticipated that.
Yeah.
That was just absurd. So all of a sudden it was 2-1. My mom and I looked at each other being like, well, this is weird because they had literally scored on their first 2 shots.
And there are only 2
shots.
Only 2 shots yes, and the only 2 shots that counted in the period for Saginaw.
Very strange because they weren't really shots. Well, I mean, the second one was but it was strange. Anyway, second period starts, and right away, Jack Pridham gets his 26th of the season from Cameron Reed and Dylan Edwards on the power play, which was a huge boon to, it being a weird 2-1 going into the break. I think they outplayed them heavily. They outshot them 8-2. And right away, getting that power play goal, that's huge, especially when you're outplaying a team and you're losing. However, here we go again. A Rangers goal followed by 2 goals by Saginaw. Demian Zhilkin scored, brother of former Ranger. He scored his 21st. He's having a great year. Okay, number 71, Zhilkin was very obviously one of the better players for Saginaw. I honestly really only saw 3 standout hockey players for Saginaw on this one. They're not, they're in a rebuild. So it is
that's
what
we
it
talked
is.
about going into this game was that, they're kind of a top line team. Like they have one line and then they got some guys.
And then Jacob Kluche scored his 10th of the season. That Jilkin goal was on the power play, but this one was even strength. So now it's 4-2.
Did not feel
halfway
good
through the game. 4-2 halfway through the game. I was very, very confused between that and the fact that I kept looking up over my shoulder because the Bob father, Bob McKenzie, was in the press box with his son, Mike McKenzie, Rangers GM. And I was just really distracted by that. I was like, oh my God, it's Bob McKenzie. It's Bob McKenzie. And then it was like, oh, it's 4-2. This is not good. But not to fear. Jack Pridham scores his 27th of the year 3 minutes later, and that's on the power play. In fact, the next 2 come on the power play. This one from Dylan Edwards and Christian Humphreys, and then Dylan Edwards from Sam O'Reilly and Christian Humphreys with about a minute and a half left in the period. They tie it up. Not to be outdone, Gabriel Sherratt scores his 17th of the year from Cameron Arquette and Andrew McNeil to take the lead going into the third with 6 seconds
6 seconds left. It was a very exciting goal. Like it was,
yes.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I loved it. This was a fun stretch.
Yep.
3 goals in about just about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Was super exciting. They knew that they had to turn it on. I mean, they're clearly outplaying Saginaw, but I don't know. The pucks were going in. It was a bit like that Owen Sound game where it was like, what's going on? How come Saginaw's just like scoring on like 50% of their chances?
Yeah.
This is very strange, but it's 5-4. That's as close as it would be because, 2 minutes into the third period, Christian Humphrey scores his 15th from Cameron Reed and Sam O'Reilly on the power play. The power play was buzzing.
Yeah.
And then Jack Pridham, empty net. Let's talk about it. The hatless hat trick goal, because the second Pridham goal was originally credited to Dylan Edwards.
Yes.
And it's funny because I was at the game and I'm up in the Blues and I'm far away and I'm like, I'm pretty sure Pridham touched that puck in the crease. And sure enough, he did, but it was announced in the intermission of the second when we were coming back, or it was either right at the end of the second or either when we were coming back from the second in the third period. It was basically a very innocuous time that it was announced.
Yeah.
So people did not hear it.
Yeah.
It was not heard because when Pridham scored the hat trick goal, there was only a few people who tried to toss their blue Bell Let's Talk.
Yeah, because they gave away hats that night.
Toques. They gave away toques. They gave away toques. So you're sitting there. It's freezing cold getting to the arena. You've got an extra toque in your hand, and a guy scores a hat trick. The guy who scores hat tricks, the man that you must fear if you wear a hat to the odd, Jack Pridham scores a hat trick, and nobody throws any hats. Now, I did have a few people message me and say, I threw a hat, but it didn't make it to the ice. I know. I saw a few of those toques get flung, but they're not going to make it, and nobody picked it up and threw it because there just weren't enough people aware that it was a hat trick.
Yeah, it was so confusing on the broadcast. I was like, Are we not at home tonight? I had to think about it for a second. I was like, where are we?
It was the hatless hat trick.
Yeah.
I've never seen it at home. Even on the road, somebody throws a hat.
Yeah, I usually get a couple hats.
Yeah, it was. So I guess do we owe Jack Pridham a hat trick celebration?
Yeah, I think so.
Do we need to have like a hat toss, like bring your old hat to the odd night? I think the Rangers should be like, you owe this man a hat trick. Bring your old hat. And it'll be like a teddy bear toss.
Perfect.
I'm saying it right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. This game ended up being like 7-4. You're like, dominant game. But like the amount of time that Saginaw led this game for the like shots that they had, the possession time that they had, it just like nothing about the score makes sense in the end. But a win's a win. We're not going to remember this one in a couple weeks when we're talking about Saginaw again or whatever. So
no, I mean it's been weird. The The save percentages haven't been great, but I wouldn't particularly say that the goaltending's been weak
No.
lately. So it's just been a weird stretch of like, I wouldn't even say that the defense has been poor. There's just been some weird puck luck.
Yeah,
I guess.
We had weird puck luck
It-
offensively in the first half of the season, so I guess we're having weird puck luck defensively in the second half of the season.
and yet they're still winning. So let's just
now
not
we're
worry
winning,
about it
so-
too much. Stats don't matter
If you win.
Wins the only thing that matters, really.
So Pridham 4 points in this game. Edwards, Reed, and Humps all got 3 points in this game. Like these guys were cooking.
Flying.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to the next?
Yeah.
one?
So the next game was against
All right.
Guelph. It was also at home, Sunday afternoon game, 4-3 win.
Also
Like,
weird.
Again, 4-3. You're like, oh, tight game, and it's like it shouldn't have been, but it was.
No, I know. The shots were 41-25
Yeah.
in this game. It
This was
the shots
this was
after
the opposite. Like the last game at the end of the first period, it was 8-2. This one was like 17-4 at the end of the first period.
Yeah, 16-5.
16-5, yeah.
The second was even more lopsided. The Rangers outshot them 18-7.
Yes.
Like it was, this was just a dominant puck possession, shots, everything, but it wasn't like a total blowout. In fact, scores first.
Yeah.
Eric Frossard scores. He scores 4 minutes in. It's 1-0. I'm kind of thinking like, okay, this is par for the course.
Yeah.
Like, it was a Sunday day game, and I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm like, yep, this is normal. They get scored on. That's fine. This is not a team that should beat the Rangers. However, Zachary Jovanovski decided that he was going to do everything he could to beat the Rangers. What a goalie this kid is.
We've had some pretty intense games against him already, and like he's just getting better and better for sure.
He stopped 37-41. He's a very talented player. But our boy Andrew McNeil, who's was the fighter last year, but the sniper this year.
Yeah.
He gets his second, and not only that, his first goal that he'll maybe tell your kids one day, Andrew, if you have them, if you're listening. Tell them this goal was your first goal, because this was such a beautiful.
This was such a great.
snipe.
I'm like, what? Who is this guy again? Like, where did he come from?
Of course, if you'll remember, his first goal was from his own end.
Yeah.
Very wacky goal.
Weird.
From very strange goal earlier in the season. But this one was just a beautiful snipe from Cameron Arquette and Alexander Bilecki. That was right at the end of the first period. So that made it 1-1.
But speaking of beautiful snipes, just before this happened, halfway through this period, Carson Campbell came in with an incredible snipe that did the double post bounce. Everyone thought it went in except for Carson Campbell. He was like, to the sky. But he came in with Tanner Lamb fed him a beautiful pass he sniped it opposite corner. It just bounced off both posts and popped out. And I was like, that looked like a Jack Pridham shot.
Yeah, the horn went off and the music kind of.
Well, everyone else thought it went in, but the players knew it didn't.
Then it stopped.
Yeah,
then it stopped. It was one of those classic hockey moments.
My favorite moment was on the broadcast. They were like, "Did it go in? Did it not go in? I guess we're gonna review it." They go and review it. They're looking over to the Ranger bench to see if there's gonna be a challenge, and Jeff Krzakis is just like, eh.
Nah. In the second period now. So that's 1-1. It could have been 2-1, but Jovanovski got a little help there from his two best buddies, the posts. But he wouldn't have any help on this one. 4 minutes in, Dylan Edwards gets his 22nd of the year from Humps and Reed on the power play. About 5 minutes later, our boy who came back from suspension, the Andalorian himself, scores his first of the year. Yes, he took a shot and it went in his first game. However, it was tipped by the artist, Avery Ansys.
The humble artist.
This one goes all the way in.
Oh, yes.
Without, it was a beautiful
Not much
goal
that could stop that.
No, set up by Sam O'Reilly. Exactly 11 minutes into the period, Matt Andonovski. Let's talk about this. He was a man possessed in this game.
Yes.
This game was a response, I felt like, to all the chatter about, is Ando not going to be a positive influence on this team with his discipline? Is this guy, we got rid of Chromiak. What's going on? Matt Andonovski showed up in this game like a guy who had, like a bull,
Like a guy
been in
who-
a pen for 2 games, waiting, frothing at the mouth, like, just watch what I learned in the A.
Yeah.
You guys, like, I played with men. I'm back here to play in the O, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Now it's 3-1 late in the second. Shabinski for Guelph scores his 14th on the power play. There was, there was a few penalties in this one, back and forth both ways. I will say that it seemed like Guelph took more penalties in the beginning of the game, and then Guelph was just allowed to kind of do whatever they wanted after that based on game management. Classic game management.
Yeah.
We're not going to give the trailing team penalties anymore because they
go.
already took their penalties.
Yep.
So it was 3-2 going into the third.
We should
going
definitely
into the
mention
third.
this is a little bit of a leading thing, but
Yeah.
our dear friend the Andalorian was interviewed by Sean Fafaro at intermission, and
Yes.
Sean asked him about like what he learned in the A and what he was bringing back, and one of the things he brought up was my body is a temple. Okay, go on.
He absolutely did.
Yes,
Body's a temple, and he's going to look after himself.
he is.
And he is. He is.
Oh yeah.
44 seconds into this third period, Rowan Top decided that Matthew Andonovski was going to fight him. And I say it that way to infer that there should be an instigator penalty on this one.
Yes.
Because Rowan Top made the decision for Ando that they were going to fight. Ando handled his business, as it were.
We didn't really see how it started because the play was happening at the other end of the ice. But because we were watching the broadcast, we weren't there in person. But the broadcasters were like, Top just flew at Ando. Like Jason,
he charged him.
Yeah.
He charged him right at the beginning of the period.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
And they did mention that there was some jawing and warm-ups. There was some chatting going on between the two players. However, if one guy skates directly at a player and says we're fighting, that's an instigator. That's letter of the law. That's
the Rangers have received
I don't care.
a lot of those instigator penalties this year. Like we know what an instigator penalty is.
I don't care if you were texting before the game. I don't care if you sent an email to hello@theoddpod.com and said set up the fight. All right, we don't have that kind of control.
Certified
but
letter.
What I'm telling you is, I don't care if any of that happens. If you get out on the ice and skate at a guy and then literally jump him and start fighting him, you're the instigator.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who was talking or emailing or paging or Morse coding. I don't care. It was an instigator clears day.
Yeah.
The official did not agree, I guess. And Ando and the coaching staff, specifically the Juice, they were all very animated. They were very angry about the lack of instigator because I don't think Ando didn't need to fight in this third period at all. Not at all. It was 3-2. They were winning. And then naturally, 4 minutes later, while the Andalorian is still in the box, Leo Serlin scores. It wasn't power play, but I'm just saying he was still in there. Once again, a bull in a pen, frothing, waiting to get out and get his opportunity to have retribution on the score sheet because Jack Pridham threw a desperation saucer. I shouldn't say desperation, but it was a saucer pass up the middle, trying to make something happen. Ando knocked it down with his stick. It was about, almost waist high. He knocked it down. And then as the puck bounces on the ice in front of him, as they're going in on they didn't really have a 2-on-1. It was kind of a 2-on-2. It was there was bodies. They didn't necessarily have numbers. Ando literally lays out, and the best I could say is like flying poke checks it over to Sam O'Reilly, who deposits it easily behind Jovanovski for what would be the game winner. 18-12 into the period, so just under 2 minutes left in the game. You want to talk about art and artists. This was like, you could see like this is like a painting. This is like a Bobby Orr type moment, but a pass as Ando laid out. I gotta say, I didn't get any DMs. I didn't see any stuff online about, Ando with the penalties, because the Gordie Howe hat trick, You're never going to complain about
Nobody
the
can
Gordie
complain
Howe
about
hat trick.
that.
There's 5 minutes involved in that, but you can't complain about those 5 minutes. He didn't even want that
No,
fight.
he didn't.
And he took it, and he won that
He won
fight.
that fight.
And he had a goal and assist. He had probably the apple of the year. That was an all-time, I think, Rangers moment, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, it was epic.
Yeah, I know I'm only a Rangers fan for a couple years now, but I gotta say, it's one of my favorite comeback stories to get thrown out of the return game.
Yep.
And there to be, significant kind of like, well, we've given up Jakub Kromiak, who's a very responsible defenseman, very disciplined player, and now you come back and yes, you're, I would say, the more physically gifted player. The only knock on you is your discipline, and you throw a hit that's very unfortunate, gets you tossed out of the game. Then you have to sit through 2 games. It doesn't harm the team. The team is okay, even though this all happened. And then you come back and you get the Gordie Howe hat trick, and it's like the assist, the apple of the year. I don't know. This is just one of my favorite regular season moments, I think, of any hockey story ever. This is just like one of my favorites.
He just brings so much fire and passion to this team. Like, that is, okay, maybe he's not going to be point per game Ando the rest of the season, but maybe he will be.
Maybe he will be. I mean, this is the thing is he looks like a more confident player offensively.
Yes.
He looks like a guy who is not afraid to jump up in the play, which he never was, ever was.
No.
I will say he was an underrated offensive player.
Yeah.
He's a tactician now in the sense that he's doing it and it's resulting in points.
Yeah, way more mature game.
Definitely.
For sure. Like, we can see that already. Like, he's more calculated. He's like, when you watch the old guys in the NHL, they're like, they're not skating at 100 miles an hour. That's not their game anymore. They see the space and they work with what they got, and he's starting to look like that guy on this team.
Yeah, he is just way more experience, and he's bigger and he's stronger than he was.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It was just, to me, it was exactly what he needed. It was exactly what the Rangers needed. And like you said, Cameron Reed is undoubtedly the captain. He's undoubtedly been a leader for them all year. But to have a returning captain come back and play like this to start his return is like, oh man, are you kidding me? Like, we have this much more leadership. It was unreal.
Yep.
And of course, for Sam O'Reilly to get a game winner was fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, Sam O'Reilly and Andonovski connected a couple times. Is that going to be, are they just in sync already? Is there that level of chemistry? That'd be great to, to have a defenseman and a center who just know where to play with each other. I don't know how Matthew Andonovski wasn't first or second star in this one.
Yeah,
because
that's a whole other question.
He was the best player on the ice, and that's saying something because Zachary Jovanovski was undoubtedly the best player for Guelph, like far and away, and played an amazing game. Yeah. But I mean, the Andalorian, this was like, his signature game as a Kitchener Ranger. So
yeah, for sure. So after this game, after the Sunday game before the Windsor game, we have Jack Brittam is now sitting 2 goals back of league leader for goals in the OHL, and Christian Humphreys is tied with 38 assists for the league leader in assists. So these guys who weren't in the top 5 at the holiday break have just shot up this. Like, I mean, obviously we've been watching these games. Like, these guys are on every goal. These 2 guys, they're always assisting, or Jack Brittam is scoring. Like,
I know, and it's meaningful goals too. Like, it's it's goals when you need a goal.
Yeah, it's not the 7th goal. Well, it is the 7th goal, but you scored 2 of the other 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's also the 7th goal, but you scored 2 huge goals in the to make it 5-4.
Yes.
These guys, they're 8th and 9th in scoring. But like, I mean, the production and the pace has picked up huge in, like I said, in that second quarter, we'll say, of the season. now moving into like the third quarter of the season that we're in now, it's just skyrocketed. Like they're just scoring at such high clips. Of course, it helps that now they're surrounded by, Dylan Edwards, and, at even strength, they're playing with Sam O'Reilly, who's winning puck battles and winning face-offs, and they're having puck possession, and Humps doesn't need to play center now. Humps is playing wing, and you've got this natural playmaker on your one wing, and you've got a defensive minded, two-way dynamo at center now, and then you've got still think the best two-way player on the team in Jack Pridham on right wing,
who's a natural goal scorer.
I know. Yeah. Yes, he's just like best, one of the best shots in the league. Yeah. And then you get on the power play and you add Dylan Edwards and Cameron Reed to that. Yeah. Like these point totals are just going to keep going up. There's no way. I can't see it petering off at all. I think it's just going to continue on this pace that they're at. I think the thing that we have to kind of side eye them a little bit is, why are there so many goals against in these games?
This one felt like luck based, these two specific games, but then also luck also comes from something. So
yeah, and it's now like a pattern, right? Yes. Like with the Owen Sound from like last week that we recapped, with Saginaw, with this one against Guelph. It's kind of like, all right, sure, these goals are not necessarily like bad goals. They're kind of, but it's like, how do we eliminate these opportunities? I think is because you don't want to give these kinds of opportunities to the good teams, right? Like, in the sense of like the really powerhouse teams, like we'll see tomorrow night. I'm saying tomorrow night. This was Wednesday night. If you're listening the day that it comes out on Friday, so you'll know what happened against Windsor, but we don't now.
We said last week Windsor's going to be a big test for this team, and how they can deal with a team that can also put up a ton of goals and stop things. Like, they're not that dissimilar from the Rangers in a lot of ways.
No, I mean, in fact, they have 2 more wins and 2 less regulation losses, and they have 1 more overtime loss. That's literally it. The difference between these two teams. They're nearly identical as far as record is concerned.
Yep. We should probably say the 3 stars first. So,
who's your third star?
Oh, me going first. Weird. Christian Kirsch is my 3rd star because, like you mentioned, like yes, the maybe the pure stats don't look super great from this weekend, but I think Kirsch looked great. There was a couple things, like he only faced 1 real shot in the first period against Saginaw, and those are that I think that's the hardest for a goalie, when you don't see any puck. So because you kind of get out of it a little bit. So I think,
well, it's also like those 2 goals in that Saginaw game that started it were so wacky and unbelievable, and and then those unfair
and
bounces.
Then not being able to see another puck for a whole period basically was like, it's kind of like you're in the mode, but you don't get that chance to stop one. I feel like there's got to be a mental game, and so the fact that Kirsch was able to in third periods like really shut down and lock down when they were starting to get pushed back from both teams, Guelph and Saginaw, they were starting to get pushed back in those third periods. He really locked it down and played great. So I think Kirsch had 2 really good games, and the stats just don't represent that. So shout out to Kirsch.
Absolutely. Shout out to Kirsch.
Who's your 3rd star?
My 3rd star is Sam O'Reilly. Not just for the fact that he had 2 points in both games, but because Sam O'Reilly won the majority of faceoffs in both games. In fact, against Saginaw, he was 19 of 23, which is absurd. But he was just over 50% in the Guelph game, 11 of 20. But overall, I just think that, he's scoring 2 points a game, which is more than he was scoring in London. He's winning face-offs. He's instant chemistry with the top line with Pridham and Humps. He's doing exactly what you want him to do. Like, this is exactly the player. If I could have said, could we just suddenly have a 1C that wins faceoffs and can shut down the other team just by, making life, what for, opposing players down low. He just takes the puck away and feeds guys and they score. That's what he does. Possession metrics must be through the roof since
you win all the faceoffs, then you always have the puck.
I love seeing that. I feel like it's something that was sorely needed because, in Guelph's a good face-off team. Every other center was below 50% against Guelph. Yeah. So that'll put it in perspective that every other center that took face-offs for the Rangers was below 50% except Sam O'Reilly. Yeah. Who's your second star?
My second star is Andrew McNeil.
Nice.
He had a great goal against Guelph, but that wasn't he had a good number of opportunities in that game. He looked really good. He won some puck battles. He was digging. He was really into this game. Specifically the Guelph game, he was like very noticeable and deserves a little shout out because we often talk about McNeil being he's a hitter, he's a fighter, but he does do offensive things really well, and he's a great sort of like mid six guy or bottom six guy to have on your team. Who's your second star?
It's Cameron Reid. Cameron Reid had 4 points in 2 games. Cameron Reid, he's technically second pairing now because you've got Woolley and Ando kind of as the big shutdown, but Reid plays all the power plays.
Yes.
So to me, he's like your number one defenseman. Yeah. Special honorable mention to Carson Campbell, who plays that steady, like, I'm just going to let Reid do his thing and I'm going to watch and just have fun. Yep. And then, of course, Campbell had that opportunity that you just wish had gotten for a guy like that.
How what degree of like velocity or angle change needed to be done to like get that puck in the net? It was basically nothing.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things that I just watch Cameron Reid and I just think, we're just very lucky that we get to see Cameron Reid play junior hockey.
He's a very exciting player.
He's so good. Yeah. He is so unbelievably good. And I think there's going to be more offensive opportunities now down the stretch for him, especially with, it kind of like those 2 big boys are taking care of things defensively and Carson Campbell's as steady as they come. So shout out to all those guys. But Cameron Reid, if you have, 3 points in one game and then you add another point in the next one, he had a good weekend. Yeah. Clipping along. Yeah. He had a good weekend. Yeah. Who's your first star?
My first star is the power play. Nice. 5 of 8 on the weekend. We may as well just start calling the PP the PPPP the Pridham power play point because if he doesn't score, he's probably getting a point on the power play. Like that's just what it's like these days.
They're 4 for 5 against Saginaw. Yeah. I mean, they're 1 for 3 against Guelph, but it's still like that's still good, right? That's still if you score
1 out of every 3 power plays, you have a great power play. So 5 for 8 this weekend. We've knocked the power play a few times this year, so I'm happy to see it really finding its stride. Who is your first star?
It's the childhood buds. It's Prids and Ando. I had to, Prids, I think, dominated in one game. And then, in the second game, it was Ando. So knowing that those guys,
Matt?
Go wait. Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah. Matt.
Yeah.
Who's Matt? Who's Ando? Who's Ando? Those 2 guys, the Prid Money and the Andalorian. I just love that it's 2 friends of the pod that are just absolutely leading the team when we need them most. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen because I feel like there's I don't know, like I think they were a great team all year, but it feels like there's a little bit of magic now.
Yep.
I'm starting to feel it.
There's something in the air. And it's mostly snow, but
we're used to that though. We're from Alberta.
Yeah, this feels like an Alberta winter. If anybody cares, that's what we're having.
It's just this lasts a lot longer out there
till May. Okay, let's preview some games. So we got 4 games between Friday and next Friday. So Friday, January 23rd, we are at home against Owen Sound. Saturday, January 24th. Oh, Friday, January 23rd against Owen Sound. I will be there with like 20 other guys. My beer softball team is coming.
I was gonna say I thought this wasn't a heated rivalry.
Oh yeah,
maybe it could be. Could be.
So come say hi if you see just like a lot of weird looking dudes walking around. That's probably my crew. Saturday, January 24th against Erie. We are in Erie.
Well, why are they all weird looking? What? Where did you find these guys?
Special audition.
Come gawk at them in the box. We're all gonna be there. Yeah, this is the absolute freak show of a friend group.
I apologize to all the softball guys. Okay.
And they're like, yeah, our team name's starting to make sense. Yeah, the circus. Yeah.
It's
sorry.
It's the gentlemen of Westgalt. So, Okay, Saturday, January 24th, we are in Erie. So, back-to-back games on the road. Hey, that's not even the first time that happens in this week. Tuesday, January 27th, we are at home against Sarnia. And on Wednesday, January 28th, we are in Owen Sound. So it's a hectic travel week for the Rangers with 4 games. Pretty busy, 2 back-to-backs. It's like, that's a deal. So Owen Sound we see twice. We see them first. We've played them 4 times already. Our season series is 3-1 for the Rangers. Yep. We just saw them last week for that weird one that Andrew mentioned earlier. Or maybe that's our new normal. I don't know. Owen Sound, they traded away Carter George. They're obviously not going for it this year. They're 1-8-1 in their last 10. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Owen Sound had a hot start.
I thought they were
legit, man.
I thought they were going to contend this year, and it just all kind of fell apart there very quickly.
Yeah.
But they're still not an easy out.
No.
Like, it's not easy to beat this team, especially for the Rangers for whatever reason. So this is definitely, there's 2 games against them, and this is definitely a game where I could a series. I know it's not back-to-backs, but this is definitely a situation where I could see the Rangers dropping one of these games, and it's just because Owen Sound just kind of goes all out. I find, especially when the Rangers are in Owen Sound.
So that second game, the Wednesday game, could be.
So the Rangers have to be on their game.
Yes.
They have to be on their game.
They got to be clean because they'll goad them into doing some things. That's what Owen Sound likes to do. So
Erie's not, a total pushover, especially at home.
Yeah.
Now the Rangers have been able to kind of get out and beat them.
We are 3-1 against them in the series. Actually, we're 3-1 against all the teams that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Well, in Sarnia,
Sarnia we haven't played 3 times, but
we haven't. But Sarnia is not very good. So you have to beat Sarnia.
Yeah.
You have to at least worst case split Owen Sound, and you have to beat Erie as well.
Yeah, Erie and Sarnia are both bottom of their divisions. Like, Erie's in our division, Sarnia's in the West division. Like, these are the games we talked about a couple weeks ago when you're in the back half of the season. These are mandatory wins. Like, you're playing bottom teams. If you want to be a contending team, these teams, there's nothing on this team that should beat you.
As far as the standings are concerned, yes, like, I know the Rangers, are in a good spot with the conference standings, obviously, especially with the divisional being the divisional leaders. Yes. But what I will say is London is still sniffing around. They're 5 points back. Obviously, we don't think that's going to happen. But in the conference, it would be nice to catch Flint. Right? We're 6 points back of Flint. You start winning some of these games and hope that maybe Flint loses some games in the second half that they shouldn't. And then you might be able to get yourself that number 1 seed, right? So I want the games, I want to see the Rangers tighten up a little bit defensively. Windsor's going to be a test. It's one of those things. If you happen to drop the game against Windsor, I want to see them win all these other games.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see as a Rangers fan. You can forgive if, you lose a game against Windsor. Windsor's a great team. It could go either way. Whatever. But these other games are kind of games that you have to win, and it's going to be tough because you got 2 back-to-backs.
Yeah, the schedule is against you, so there's mental and physical preparation that needs to go in to being sharp for these games. But this isn't that different from when you're playing playoffs. Like, they're more physical games, so you got to be ready for those too. So this should just be a challenge for the guys to be ready at any given moment for whatever comes at them.
As a footnote, going way back to the beginning of the episode where we talked about things we get wrong, things that we maybe get wrong in advance was that, Avery Anstis came out of the lineup, and I will say our boy Weston Cameron, another one of our favorites to talk to, got some playing time, which is good because he needs some playing time as well. But we do apologize if we were the ones that we say
things and then they happen the exact opposite, and we're like
opposite. Anstis was in the lineup over and over, and then as soon as we were like, man, you're just always in the lineup, he had to sit for a couple games. So I apologize if that's our fault. However, I don't think it was because of his play. I think it's just because they have limited opportunities for these young guys, and Weston Cameron has to get some ice time. Like he has to. He's a good young player.
This is a problem with being an embarrassment of riches teams. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, these guys on other teams that we've talked about today would be getting, if not every game, they might be top 6 every game or top 6 half the games. Like this is the way that it happens when you're building for a championship team.
Yeah.
These kids end up sort of having to rotate in and out. And I hope it feels like what I like is that they're not rotating out in and out every game. They're actually getting a few games in a row to sort of settle in and get in, jive with the team and whatever. So I think they're getting some adequate time. Of course, we love seeing Weston Cameron in the lineup. Of course, we're sad to see Anstis not in the lineup, but we also don't want to take anybody out of the lineup. Like we want to roll like 15 guys, like 5 lines, 6 lines. Like
8 defensemen, 15 forwards. Don't worry about it.
We can build a team, but it's not legal.
We'll swap goalies every period.
Yeah, for sure. Or just put them both in net,
Exactly.
Whatever.
Why not? We saw Schauble skating around. He can play out.
Yeah, so perfect. He can be another defenseman.
Exactly.
That's our episode for the week. Some thank yous. Of course, thank you to Kim Bourne, Director of Branding and Marketing. Shout out to our prodigal producer, Liam. Thank you to him. You're going to get in so much trouble.
You thought I was going to whisper.
The text is incoming.
My voice cracked on that, too. That was the best part. Yeah.
Thank you to Tim for writing, producing, editing, creating, doing all the sound things and the intro music and the outro music. And special shout out to JJ for doing the voiceover for our intro. And thank you, JJ. And Andrew, where can you find us on the social medias?
Well, apparently you can find us at theaudpod.com.
Theaudpod.com.
Another
word for you to teach your son.
TheAudpod.com.
That's right. Oh, sorry. That's another podcast thing.
You can find us at the AudPod, at the Odd Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Boy, Tim's gonna have to fix that pop. Yep. And you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at the Odd Podcast. That's the only place that we have the cast involved. If you just Google us, we'll come up on YouTube, the Odd Pod. You can put us in the search bar on YouTube. In fact, there seems to be enough traction on YouTube now that we come up right away. Yep. And don't forget, email us hello@theoddpod.com, and I don't know, share us some odd history.
Yeah,
which we might have a couple people coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, so hoping to have odd history back up next week.
Yep,
and like, subscribe, all that jazz that we normally do.
Comment.
Give us an emoji
weeks since the comments.
Give us the emoji in the comments. We love that. So thank you in advance. And Andrew, as always, you can find me on Friday with
a bunch of weird looking dudes at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium.
See you at the Odd.
Bunch of freaks.
Imagine they want to listen to it on the way.